The last seat in Dublin South East still in the melting pot. Counting could go into a fourth day. Truckers say shipping companies have 24 hours to better a pay offer they call derisory. France hesitates over single currency plans as finance ministers meet in Luxembourg. And Gardaí move to clear the capital's main thoroughfare of drug dealers. Good evening and welcome. The first steps towards the formation of a new government were taken today when Fianna Fáil leader Bertie Ahern met PD leader Mary Harney at Leinster House. Negotiations between the two parties are to begin tomorrow with the aim of reaching agreement by the weekend. Meanwhile, in the Dublin South East constituency, the returning officer has ordered a recount and re-examination of ballot papers. A recount had been requested by the PDs after John Gormley of the Greens had taken the final seat by a margin of 27 votes over Michael McDowell. The recount at the RDS began about an hour ago. It's the second time the procedure has taken place.
Proportional representation with the single transferable vote is said to be the fairest in the world, but it's also a system which is very, very complex. The Dublin South East constituency is showing how complex and at times incomprehensible it can get. Early on Sunday morning, John Gormley of the Greens appeared to have won the last seat from Michael McDowell of the Progressive Democrats by 27 votes. However, the calculations and recalculations are continuing. Since the result on Sunday morning was so close, there was a complete re-examination of every preference on every ballot and a recount of every ballot to ensure the numbers added up. This process finished this afternoon. However, a number of irregularities were uncovered. A bundle of ballot papers said to contain 100 ballot papers actually contain 145. On that basis, the returning officer at 7 o'clock this evening called for a second complete re-examination and recount of ballots. John Gormley of the Green Party says the system should be computerised to rid us of such errors.
You know, if we're moving into the 21st century, we do need computerised voting. This idea that we're totting up things, with pencils on paper and that has to go. And, it's excruciating for the candidates.
Fianna Fáil workers were on hand to help their prospective coalition partners. They said it wasn't a case of sour grapes. The continual recounts and re-examinations had to happen.
But it's not against John Gormley that this exercise has been done, and it's not really for Michael McDowell. It is really to prove that the system is fair and clear and transparent.
The second complete recount and re-examination could well go into tomorrow. The only way the result will be altered is if a significant error is found which could change the outcome. The returning officer's staff believe this won't happen.
And our reporter Paul Cunningham joins us now. Paul, could you shed some light on the difference between a recount and a total recount?
Well, obviously, trying to explain proportional representation is extremely difficult and most viewers' eyes will glaze over, but I will try to do it as succinctly as possible. What they're doing just behind me here is they're going through all of Owen Ryan's votes and they're rechecking to ensure that all the preferences are in the right place, and they're also counting to ensure that all the numbers tally up. Now, unless there is a significant error, if there was a significant error, then it's up to the returning officer to decide if he wanted to have a total recount. If the error looked as if it might overturn the result, he would call a total recount and then we would go right back to the beginning.
And have we any idea at all how long this particular procedure is likely to take?
Well, in this second re-examination and recount of the ballots, what we've done is we're now currently looking at Owen Ryan's results. We then go to Francis Fitzgerald's, then a break is going to be taken. We come back tomorrow at 10:30. We then go through Rory Quinn's, we go through John Gormley's, and we go through Michael McDowell's. Once that has taken place, we examine whether or not there are major errors or not. If there isn't, it'll be over then, possibly by tomorrow night. If there was a total recount, who knows?
Is Michael McDowell thought likely to look for a total recount?
It's possible. If significant anomalies were found, it is within his ambit to call for it. But the main point to make is it's up to the returning officer to decide.
Thank you, Paul. And we move now to those first steps at attempting to form a new government. Our political correspondent Una Claffey joins us from Leinster House. Una, that meeting between Bertie Ahern and Mary Harney is leading to a series of meetings beginning tomorrow. What do we know about that?
Well, we now know that meeting will take place tomorrow afternoon at 3 o'clock. I understand they haven't yet decided where. and neither have they decided whether or not they'll tell us where when they do decide. But I gather it's a sort of, if you like, get-to-know-you meeting for the two sides to get to know each other, and also to finalise their agenda. I'm told that it'll last about an hour, and that then, if you like, they'll be into the hard negotiating after that.
Do we have any idea of what number of cabinet posts the PDs may be holding out for, Una?
Well, I think they'll be looking for two. I mean, they're going to be in a slightly difficult position because, of course, Mary Harney did say on several occasions during the election campaign that policies were really the most important thing. Now, 2 out of 4 would be quite an achievement, and Bertie Ahern may be under some pressure from within Fianna Fáil itself not to give those two, but at the same time, he is known to be a conciliator, and, you know, she will push, I think, very hard for that. So we really don't know yet, and we don't know yet about how the question of who'll be Taoiseach will be decided.
Any indications yet of moves afoot to garner independent support for Bertie Ahern?
Well, certainly the main focus is going to be on the actual negotiations for the programme for government, and I should have said to you, by the way, that while they are in progress, Bertie Ahern and Mary Harney themselves will continue to meet, and that's where the real negotiating will take place over the composition of the cabinet. But there will be approaches from Fianna Fáil to some of the independents, but both sides, I think, at this stage are viewing this as a minority government, and of course they've said already that they'll be looking for support from across the floor of the House for Bertie Ahern's nomination as Taoiseach. But certainly those approaches will take place, but they want to get the negotiations underway first.
Una, thank you for that. The Stormont Minister Tony Worthington has said the British government is looking forward to working with Mr Ahern, but unionists have reacted strongly to the suggestion that if Bertie Ahern assumes office, he would appoint former Taoiseach Albert Reynolds as a special envoy to the North. The SDLP Deputy Leader Seamus Mallon said he hoped Mr Ahern would once again emphasise the need for a complete cessation of IRA violence when he holds another meeting with the Sinn Féin President, Gerry Adams.
With the election now expected to result in the formation of a Fianna Fáil and Progressive Democrat coalition, unionists have been assessing what effect, if any, that's likely to have for the peace process. In particular, they'll be watching the impact of the Sinn Féin success in Cavan Monaghan and the decision by the party to take its seat in the new Dáil. The Fianna Fáil leader, Bertie Ahern, confirmed once he gained office he would appoint former Taoiseach Albert Reynolds as an envoy on the North. The main unionist parties reacted strongly to that suggestion from Fianna Fáil, but the two loyalist groups were more pragmatic in their assessment.
It's very clear that they are a nationalist party wanting to extend a nationalist remit and that they are the enemies of the unionist cause.
They'll need the support of independents who tend to be, by and large, very pro-Republican.
As Bertie Ahern prepared for another meeting with the Sinn Féin President, Gerry Adams, the SDLP said it would continue to have a close working relationship with the Irish government.
Mr Adams has had talks with the British government, with the Irish representatives of the Irish government. Mr Ahern is meeting him before he becomes Taoiseach, and I would hope that that would be an opportunity